Support for Steppin Out is made possible by Yes Portrait. New Orleans portrait artist Pragati Dar specializes in personal portraits in oil or pencil. She uses her many years of experience to bring her portraits to life. More information is available at yesportrait.com.
Good evening, I'm Peggy Scott Laborde and welcome to Steppin Out, spotlighting the New Orleans area's arts and entertainment scene. We're coming to you from our studios near City Park. Seated at our table tonight for the first time, Joel Colman, cantor for Temple Sinai Synagogue, who, in addition to singing spiritual music, also has a bit of Broadway in his soul, and he'll be singing for us tonight. Welcome, Joel.
Thank you.
Hello.
Thank you, Peggy.
Hi there. Poppy Tooker, host of the WWNO program Louisiana Eats. Hey, Miss Poppy,
hey,
welcome
Peg.
back.
Thank you.
Also making his Steppin Out debut, Dr. Marcus St. Julien, on the faculty of the College of Music and Fine Arts at Loyola, teaching organ, music theory, and voice. And I love the fact that your official title is Extraordinary Professor. Okay, I love that. And we'll be visiting with both of them and hearing from them a little later. But of course, Alan Smason, editor of the online Crescent City Jewish News. Hey, hello,
Great to
sir.
be back.
But first up, Poppy.
New
We're going
restaurant
south of the border.
We're starting south of the border at Mizzato Cucina, which is a new concept restaurant that's brought to us by those taste buds, of course, Gary Darling, Hans Limburg, and Greg Reggio, who have been the geniuses behind Zia, Semolina, and where we are talking about is that new building where the original Semolina was, right there at Metairie Road and I-10. It's a lovely space with outdoor seating. There's a beautiful, comfortable interior with lots of natural light. Just really pleasant to sit in that restaurant. And basically, it's a Hispanic menu that has touches of other ethnic foods like Indian, Asian, and even kind of American with mac and chorizo. Now, there are 4 different kinds of guacamole on the menu, and they make them tableside, which is most impressive, and they have 7 different salsas. Now, what's really interesting is they've done this combo of a Peruvian-style ceviche marries Japan. So there is their tuna tartare, which is as delicious as it is beautiful. And what's really cool is that darling Ashley Rosenberry, who is a chef that works for them, she works from a sushi bar style exposed kitchen space in the dining room. So you can really see that Asian, Mexican coming together. They have over a dozen different tacos, both traditional and reinvented with ingredients like Louisiana alligator and pork belly. But for a really special treat, how about the Rosarita Beach Lobster Taco Party, which is wood-grilled Maine lobster tails with Baja cabbage, guacamole, and different kinds of salsa, 3 different kinds. And do not go there without having the Peking duck tamales with the pineapple jalapeno glaze. It was just like a whole new thought about Hispanic food. There's a great bar with an amazing tequila collection. They're open for both lunch and dinner, serving continuously from 11 a.m. till 11 p.m., except closed on Mondays, and Sundays brunch only, 10:30 to 3:30. Really good food. Now we're going to go downtown to a new restaurant called Doris Metropolitan. Now, if you've walked down Charter Street lately, you have to have noticed it. It's really an interesting tale. These are Israeli gentlemen, Doris Rebbe Chia and Itai Ben Eli Began. They first had a Doris Metropolitan in Israel in 2003. They opened their second location in Costa Rica, where they found the quality of the meat was so poor that they started to raise their own cattle. Now, this is the view. There's a window that both in the restaurant and on Charters. So, you know, jewelry on Royal Street, meat on Charters.
And this is the old Alpine. We
Yes,
should
it
say
is.
that's
Exactly.
what a transformation.
It's quite amazing. They have an open kitchen, a great bar for dining, and gorgeous, elegant dining room and private dining rooms too. And that's all beef being dry aged that you saw there, which is really a time, some of their beef is aged 31 days. Now, they make delicious fresh bread there, and they serve it with their own house-made flavored butters. They bring you olive oil and balsamic vinegar to have the bread with, and there's an incredible appetizer list that you could make a meal off of just the small plates alone. You see the Mediterranean influence in the tuna tartare because it includes unusually also the tuna tartare. I don't know if we have the picture of that next, but the tuna tartare, ginger, emulsion, tobacco. These are words I'm not familiar with. Salicornia, I think that's that little green. Radish, avocado. Soy pearls, that's not something you see every day in wasabi. And then in their Chateaubriand tartare, that is where there's a little smoked paprika, which really caught me by surprise. But for me, the showstopper was the sweetbreads. They're served with a demi-glace, roasted poblano pepper sphere, pearl onion, and truffle oil. Dinner every night, 5:30 till 10:30, and lunch on Fridays. This is really
lots of creativity, Poppy. Yeah.
Brilliant creativity and really, really, really fine food. Fabulous place to sit in. And last of all, if the last weekend's New Orleans food and wine experience really whetted your appetite for more wine learning, the Wine Institute of New Orleans is having a summer sale. Of course, that's Brian Berkey and his beautiful actress wife, Leslie Castay. You sign up for 2 classes and you get any third class for free. This is most Tuesday nights through August the 19th. Classes start at $35, and you get an average of about 8 pours for every class.
Wow.
Okay. It's a really good deal.
All right. Well, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we turn to Joel. And Joel and Marcus and I ran into each other a few months ago at the Sacred Music Festival. And it was like, wow. And was so thrilled. But by your day job is you are a cantor at Temple Sinai. Explain what a cantor is for the uninitiated here.
Well, a cantor in the Jewish faith there's a Hebrew translation is called a chazan, which translates messenger of the prayer. And that's what we do. We are, through our singing, is to convey the liturgical message through music. And we do that with the congregation and for the congregation. And that's what a cantor does.
Now, so you do this weekly, and I know that there are June dates and July dates in terms of when your services are. Let's explain that a little bit.
We are so blessed. We have this wonderful, in our Jewish community, especially amongst the Reformed Jewish community of Touro Synagogue and ours, Temple Sinai and Touro Synagogue, we share the summer services. So this summer services will be held at Gates of Prayer in June, and then at Temple Sinai in July, and Touro Synagogue in August.
And you will be performing it all?
We officiate, the clergy officiate at their congregation only. Okay. So you'll see the clergy at Gates of Prayer in June. You'll see Rabbi Cohn, our wonderful rabbi, and myself at Temple Sinai in July, and then August, of course, at Touro Synagogue.
Okay, well, great. Well, I know that not only you're a man of many hats because you were in an opera last year, New Orleans Opera Association. That must have been quite an experience.
Oh, that was really something else, to sing in Samson and Delilah. And Robert Lyle, the maestro, was just so nice and wonderful. We had rehearsals on Friday nights at times, and I have services on Friday night. And so they rehearse on a church up on Carrollton. And what we would do is he would do the rehearsal that I needed to be at, he would do it like at 7:30. So I would go from services and here doing services at Friday night and then switch to opera just minutes later. It was such a transition.
And you were also in Fiddler on the Roof, a production of Fiddler on the Roof too, huh, last year?
Summer Lyric Theater a couple years ago did Fiddler on the Roof. They did it about 13 years ago, and then they did it again. I had the same part, and it was just so much fun.
In which part were you?
I was Mordcha. And he's the guy that hands out all the gifts during the wedding. So
all right. Well, great. And then, Marcus, you teach full-time at Loyola, and you are developing a sacred music degree? Wow.
Yes. Initially, we were looking at possibly a minor, but now we're in discussions to develop I don't know if you want to say sacred music or music and liturgy, it just depends, but it would be a program that would be geared for people who really want to focus on working in the church.
But you are the organist, though, at the temple.
Yes, I am the organist at Temple Sinai.
So you all work together on a regular basis.
Yes.
Now, you're originally from New Orleans, but you were away for a while.
Yes, I lived in Houston for 24 years.
But you saw the light.
I think we all come back here to die.
Well, you're a youngster. Don't say that.
He's come here to live.
I returned in 2004. My father was not well, and it was a good choice. He passed not that long after that. But
well, I'm sorry to hear that. But in the How Small is New Orleans, I know your sister.
Well, and I do have to tell you something
So
very
talented.
funny. That initially I pursued the music career, and then Thais got into singing later. So when I was still living here, she was Marcus's sister. Then when I left and would come back to visit, suddenly I was Thais's brother. And we both just have gotten the biggest kick out of that.
No, she is a music librarian.
No longer. No,
no longer. Okay.
Thais is
for many years
the
she was.
co-director of New Orleans Music of the Camera.
Well, for many, many years.
Yes.
She and
Yes, she
Milton
was
Sherman.
yes.
And talk about devoted to that, because I know that many of them have created their own instruments, and she's one of the primary vocalists too, isn't she?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And also developed the women's ensemble Vox Feminae.
Oh, okay.
Which is just a spectacular women's group.
So who influenced you all? Were your parents musical, or?
People in our family played music. I'm a pre-Vatican II Catholic. I grew up at St. Dominic's in Lakeview and got in the boys' choir. And the organist, Ann Ganesha, was a terrific organist, and the organ at that time was one of the better ones in the city. And the bug bit, and I just
great.
wanted to play the organ.
Well, tell us about what you're performing tonight, our first number.
It's a prayer called Heal Us Now, and what's so nice about the liturgical pieces being written today is that they both encompass both the Hebrew language and English, so the message of the prayer can be easily understood by everyone.
Okay, well, we'll move on and let the gentlemen get ready for that. But just a reminder, as we said, if you want to hear services, and here we go, at the Gates of Prayer in June, the Shabbat services, and we'll tell you more about that in July in just a moment. But now we will hear this wonderful song. Let's take a look.
Rafa'enu Adonai v'nerafeh, Hoshienu v'nivashea, El Karov l'chol Karov, Akarov l'reov Yishua. We pray for healing of the body. We pray for healing of the soul, for strength of flesh and mind and spirit. We pray to once again be whole. El Norefana. Oh, please heal us now. Refuat ha-nefesh, refuat ha-guf, refuat shelemo. Heal us now. Heal us now. Hoshia et amecha, uvarech et nachalatecha, uvareim v'naseim ad ha'olam. Mishaberach avotenu, mishaberach imotenu, ana Adonai Hoshiana. We pray for healing of all people. We pray for healing of the land and peace for every race and nation, every child, every woman, every man. El Norefana. Oh, please heal us now. Refuat הנפש ורפואת הגוף, רפואה שלמה. אלנו לפניו. Oh, please heal us now. רפואת הנפש ורפואת הגוף, רפואה שלמה. Heal us now. Heal us now. Heal us now.
Wonderful.
Just beautiful.
And you can hear Joel and, of course, Marcus starting back in July on the Shabbat series at Temple Sinai and really throughout the year. Taking a little bit of a summer break with June, but throughout the year here, too. And now on to Alan.
And I should point out before I get started that Cantor Colman also, talking about healing, works as a chaplain with the New Orleans Fire Department. Another one of his many hats that he has.
Many hats. Also is a motorcyclist.
Well,
right?
he wears a helmet. You're right.
He wears a helmet for that. Okay. All right.
Let me get started about bent. Now, you know, bent is a pejorative term for homosexual, and it was used in the title of the play that was written by Martin Sherman and premiered back in 1979 with Ian McKellen in the London West End, and of course with Richard Gere in 1980 on Broadway. Those of you who don't know, there was also a film in 1997, but Bent is basically the play that opened up a lot of the eyes of the world to what happened during the horrors of the Nazi era to the homosexual population. There's still no record or indication as to how many homosexual men were killed during that era. And of course, the reason why was that they were seen as a threat to the state because men who were effeminate weren't seen to be strong and in the mold of what they had wanted for the fatherland, and also to be able to provide offspring. So today the knowledge is much more common about what happened, and the knowledge that wearing a pink triangle was in many ways as much of a death sentence, if not more, than wearing a yellow star. Essentially, it said that the homosexuals were so reviled that in many cases they were at a lower social strata than the Jewish race. So again, one of the things we want to say that Horst, who you'll see here is Christopher Ramage, the gentleman on the right, and Kyle Woods plays Max. Christopher Ramage and Max are essentially put together in a concentration camp, essentially Dachau. In the second act of the play. As Horst, Ramage accepts his fate willingly, but Max is a conniver. He essentially pretends to perpetrate, if you will, a Jewish person because he feels that it might be actually a higher standing in the concentration camp and that he would not be as reviled by wearing a Jewish star, which of course we as Jews can take into that maybe a deeper meaning. So again, one of the things that we wanted to talk about is the great acting going on in here. You have Christopher Ramage and Kyle Woods both doing a relationship in which they're not allowed to touch one another because for them to do so would be an instant death sentence from the Nazis. So they actually develop a relationship, and they actually have an imagined physical relationship which they can't actually initiate with one another. It is an incredible performance, and I would mention that there are some other great performances. Levi Hood plays Rudy, who is Max's vulnerable lover at the very beginning of the play. And again, they happen to open the play on the night of the Long Knives, which was the night that Ernst Röhm, who was an avowed homosexual and who was Hitler's right-hand man, was dispatched, and all of his kin essentially made to be collaborators in a trumped-up plot against Hitler. He used that as an instance to essentially enact laws against the homosexuals. There's a straight owner and performer at one of the watering holes, if you will, meeting places. Bob E. Jr. Does a great job as a performer. He actually does a performance of Love for Sale, which is to die for. Later in Act 2, though, Eads is called upon to portray a sinister Nazi with malicious intent on killing. You'll see him in some of the roles that he has there, essentially putting Horst and Max to task. Again, I will also tell you that of note in the play is Michael Sullivan. He plays Uncle Freddie, who, like Max, also fancies a fling with a boy toy from time to time, but is much more discreet than his nephew. We'll also mention Bent is an incredible play because it's done tastefully. The message of man's inhumanity to his fellow human, though, is anything but tasteful. Again, I would like to remind everybody that this is a Fred Nuccio directed play. He's really behind this. It's one of the things that he does with great love, and we want to thank him for putting this work on. Again, they are going to have the play ending this weekend, Saturday night at 8 o'clock, and Sunday, I believe the final show will be at 6 o'clock. Let's move on just a little bit now to something a little bit more uplifting, and that is that only 9 days remain between now and the Tony Awards. Yes. So the Antoinette Perry Awards, as they're known, the Tony Awards, are going to have several different nominations for many of the plays and musicals, and I wanted to touch a little bit on the musicals this week because next week we'll talk about some of the plays. But first, for Best Musical up is A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder. This is a glorious romp with Jefferson Mays playing the role of 9 different would-be earls. He finds he must dispatch the other 8 in order to get to the top, and so it's again a little bit British in its presentation, but again received 10 nominations, more than any other. Beautiful, the Carole King musical, stars Jessie Mueller. Last year she was playing a featured role. She's a leading actress. This is the play that Carole King, the musical, said she would not ever see. She did see it about a month ago, and she stars as Carole King. Also up is Aladdin, the Alan Menken, Harold Ashman, and Tim Rice film. We'll be getting a new makeover on stage. And then finally, the Cotton Club musical, After Midnight, with the music of Duke Ellington, Harold Arlen, Cab Calloway, and others. Now, on to Best Musical Revival. Even though it never was on Broadway, Violet is actually going to be seen as a revived musical. It was off-Broadway when it first appeared, and this is the one that stars Sutton Foster. It's nominated for 4 nominations. This is the Janine Tesori musical. Also up for Best Revival is Neil Patrick Harris with 8 nominations of Hedwig and the Angry Inch, and Les Miserables. Ramin Karimloo, who was, of course, the Phantom of the Opera, is going to be playing Jean Valjean. Hopefully that will do something, too, with 3 nominations.
All right. Great. Alan, thank you very much. And you've got Les Mis here, too, of course.
Yes.
And did you want to mention something about the Porta
Puppets?
Puppets?
I did want to mention real quick, there's a tour on the library of the Porta Puppet players, all the different libraries around town. Check our site. They've got all the different locations that are available. It's a wonderful way to get the kids involved in not only reading, but also in theater.
All right. Uncle Wayne Daguerrepont's terrific. He's
Yes.
such a great guy. Thank you. And now it's time, though, for our Artist Spotlight. Tonight, we are featuring artist Pragati Dar, an Orleanian, but originally from New Delhi. She graduated from Delhi University with an art degree, and Doris developed her own special technique in her portraits to make them very, very lifelike. And we were just showing you Louisiana Girl. You can see more of her work at her website, and that's at yesportrait.com or by calling 957-4166. Visit WYES.org to see our online calendar, and you can see our program on demand on our website, too. New Orleans Magazine's quiz queen, Julia Street, has a question for us. Last time, Scott Hall gave us the name of the monument on Veterans Boulevard established by a late politician to honor veterans of a certain war. We have former Jefferson Parish and late Jefferson Parish Sheriff Harry Lee to thank for this monument in honor of the veterans of the Korean conflict. Now, tonight's question. Several streets in Lakeview are named after characters or places from World War I. Name 2. Email your answers to steppinout@wyes.org. Our prizes: a Louisiana Life magazine subscription, a gift certificate for 2 of Vianne's Coffee House. That's the tea house offering their culinary and gourmet tea experience. And tonight we have an apron as worn by WYES staffer. That's, of course, our Kelsey Schreiber with Elvis Parsley, the message from our friends from wearablevegetables.com. We also have 2 tickets to the June 9th performance of Jesus Christ Superstar, and that's at the UNO Arena. Go to Ticketmaster.com for details on the show. And now our picks. Joel.
Oh, well, July 4th, we have our Red, White, and Jewish Shabbat program Friday night at 6:15, Temple Sinai and St. Charles Avenue.
Very good. Poppy.
I'm wearing my oysters because it's Oyster Festival weekend down at Waldenberg Park. Don't miss it. The oysters are great right now.
Okay, Marcus.
Nothing upcoming. The closest thing for me is an organ recital In April of next year. So.
But if you're interested, Loyola, check out Loyola for your music department, of course. Alan.
And finally, I want to remind everybody that the Andrews Brothers is going to be winding down. This is the show at the National World War II Stage Door Canteen. And again, they do a great job and wonderful with Courtney Bowe and the fellas there.
All right, great. And before we go to my picks, we wanted to show you a special drawing from Peter Max for our Steppin Out crew. It says, to Peggy and the Steppin Out crew at WYES Channel 12, along with a sketch of a face inside a heart with his signature P on that. So a reminder that his exhibit, Homage to Color, is right now up at the Angela King Gallery on Royal Street through June 27th. And you can visit AngelaKingGallery.com to see more of his work. Now my picks. Opera singer Sarah Jane McMahon will perform with other talented artists this Sunday at 3 p.m. at a free concert at St. Louis Cathedral. The concert is called Lyrica Baroque. Go to sarahjanemcmahon.com for more information. Looking ahead to next week's D-Day commemoration, the 70th anniversary at the National World War II Museum. Go to their website for details. And we have just gotten the news that WYES will be presenting a fundraiser Beatles tribute concert. That's September 16th to celebrate the 50th anniversary of when the Beatles came to town. Check that out with more information at WYES.org. And now let's hear more. A little bit of Old Man River from Joel Colman and Marcus St. Julien. Thanks for watching. Good night.
Let me go away from the Mississippi. Let me go away from the big man boss. Show me that stream called the River Jordan. That's the old stream that I longs to cross. Old Man River, that old man river, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along. He don't plant potatoes, he don't plant cotton, and them that plants 'em is soon forgotten. But Old Man River, he just keeps rolling along. You and me, we sweat and strain, Bonnie, you're licking and racked with pain. Tote that barge and lift that bale, you get a little drunk and your lands in jail. I get weary and sick of trying. I'm tired of living and scared of dying. But Old Man River, he just keeps rolling along.
Support for Steppin Out is made possible by Yes Portrait. New Orleans portrait artist Peggy Scott specializes in personal portraits in oil or pencil. She uses her many years of experience to bring her portraits to life. More information is available at yesportrait.com.